Am I live? I am. I'm live. How are you doing, by the way? It's Monday, September 10th. Very bright, isn't it? I've never adjusted those blinds properly on that window. It's Monday, September 10th, 2018. I hope you had a nice weekend. I hope you had a nice Sunday. Very pleasant weekend I had myself. Just dropped in to tell you a little bit about who's coming up on the show a bit later on, which I'm going to try and do every day, just to have a chat about the guests coming up today and across the course of the week. I'm sitting on my hands here so I don't bang the table. It's a very rickety table. It's not the best table in the world. So I've been very interested this morning listening to UK radio and watching UK television news at the amount of coverage given to the women's US Open tennis final, which took place on Saturday, which took place between, well, it was a game between Serena Williams and a lady called Osaka, who beat Williams in the end, didn't she? She beat Williams. Very controversial it's been because of an altercation between the chair umpire and Serena Williams. I was going to get into this on Sunday View yesterday, and I ran out of time around about 10 minutes to midday. You might say, how could you run out of time, Richie? It's your own radio station. Well, we like to keep things to an hour or 2 hours because it's easier than when they're repeating. It gives people a kind of an idea that something new is coming up at the top of every hour. So I try to keep it to an hour. But I was going to get into it. Why? Sport isn't something that has come up very often on this particular radio show over the years. I like sport as a way to wind down. I like football. I like cricket. I'll watch pretty much anything really, just to relax the old brain cells. But ordinarily, I wouldn't talk about sport. But I've been very interested in the way it's been reported as a racist and as a sexist issue, and this obviously ties in with a lot of the work that the show has looked at, or a lot of the topics that the show has taken on in the last couple of years, particularly identity politics, of course, narcissism, and the use of identity groups, or the creation of more and more and more vulnerable groups, stroke identity groups, that people can attach themselves to and then argue amongst each group, then arguing with the other group as to who's the biggest victim. And this did come up a little bit towards the end of the Sunday View program yesterday. Talked a little bit about an article that was in the Sunday Telegraph, but I didn't have, as I said, I didn't have the time to get into it. But it's fascinating to me. One of the things we see about identity politics is right and wrong and facts, truths and lies become irrelevant in the era of identity politics. Like I said before, I've been saying now for about 4-5 years, and I'm claiming it, that we live in a post-fact world. Facts are irrelevant. So I was listening to BBC Radio 5 Live this morning and watching the ITV breakfast television show and so on, so on, so on. And black sportsmen and women have been coming out and saying that this is a race issue. And others have been coming out, feminists have come out and said that it's a feminine issue, that it's an issue of gender discrimination. And why do I say facts don't matter? Well, Serena Williams' coach was coaching her from the sidelines, from the crowd, which is illegal in tennis. And the umpire noticed it and gave her a violation for it, a warning. Or maybe he took a point off her. And she started abusing him. She didn't swear at him, but she began abusing him and questioning his integrity. And she called him a liar and a thief, which is a violation. Another one. So at that point, he defaulted her a game. Pretty serious stuff for tennis players to have a game taken off you. Now, feminists and those who talk a lot about racism were saying today that this is evidence that Serena Williams has been treated differently to other players. But it's not quite true, because I had a look this morning, and one or two tennis players who might not be so well known, but they've also been having a look and they've been tweeting out that this man has previously taken a point off of Novak Djokovic, who won the men's US Open yesterday. This guy took a point off of him some years ago when he felt that he was being coached from the sidelines. And the same umpire recently took points off of Andy Murray because he felt Murray was abusing him and calling into question his integrity. So it's not that the guy's exclusively gone after Serena Williams. It apparently looks like the guy's a pretty strict umpire and takes the letter of the law very seriously, maybe more than other umpires do. But what's really interesting about it is, look, sport is something that's not important in the wider scheme of things. But it's interesting, again, how people will use a story like that to divide themselves along gender identity lines and racial identity lines, and facts will just go out the window. Facts don't matter. Doesn't matter. Serena Williams can say he's sexist. And in fact, the WTA, which is the governing body for women's tennis, they put out a statement backing Serena Williams and saying that what happened was an example of sexism. Doesn't matter that the guy previously penalised male players for the same stuff. Right? Facts don't matter. This is the era of narcissism. This is the era of identity politics, gender politics, racial politics. And who cares about the truth, ultimately? So there you go. I didn't think very hard about that. It just occurred to me as I was coming on. So a lot of Brexit stuff in the news today. You'll be thankful, happy, I think, to know that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Brexit today at 5 p.m. I'm going to be talking to Dean Henderson, legend, the author of several great books. If you want to find out more about Dean, go to his website. Let me just get that right. HendersonLeftHook.wordpress.com, of course. His most recent book is Illuminati Agenda 21, which he wrote with his wife, Jill, and both of them were on the program back in early June talking about that. So I'm welcoming Dean back to the program today. We're going to have a look, I suppose, a general look at some of the bigger stories making the independent media news headlines over the last week and over the weekend. So Dean Henderson will join me. And coming up in the second hour, I'm welcoming back to the program a man who came on with me back in January, a man called Alan Condon. Alan is a very rare athlete, very successful athlete, a rare man indeed, in that he represented Great Britain not only at the Summer Olympics, but he also represented Great Britain at the Winter Olympics as well. Very successful sportsman. But he's going to be coming back on the program to update us. He was on in January talking about his son, Ben. Now, Ben passed away only a few weeks after he was born, his baby boy, a few years ago. And he presented evidence, did Alan, that Ben, there was a severe or there was a serious neglect of care shown towards Ben by the physicians who treated him at the hospital he was at in Bristol. And not only that, but Alan presented evidence that not only was he misdiagnosed, and it was a serious, very serious mistake, but he provided evidence that the NHS Trust actually took steps to cover that up. It doesn't get any more serious than that. And we heard about Ben's story back in January, very early in January. So it's been a long time, and I wanted to follow up on that because he believes, and a lot of people believe, that there were or there are many other cases where people die in hospitals in this country where it could have been avoided, and where later on the hospital and the NHS Trust took steps to prevent information getting to the families of the deceased. This is serious stuff, this. So Alan Condon will be back on the program today. Looking forward to doing that. So Alan Condon and who did I say? Dean Henderson, of course, will be the guests this Monday. See, a lot of comments are coming in there. Nice to know you joined me. you're joining me even as I do this live. As I said, I'll try and do this every day, just something a bit different, just breaks up the day a little bit, and it's a way of telling you who's coming up on the program and what they're going to be talking about. Some interesting guests coming up this week. I have an academic coming on tomorrow from Washington State University. Now, I've talked a lot about the forthcoming rollout of 5G, fifth generation technology, microwaves, EMFs, non-ionizing radiation, and how harmful that is to flora and fauna, to men, women, children, animals, and plant life as well. So we've heard from activists on the program before. We've heard from independent researchers. It's great to get academics, system people. So I have a professor, a PhD from Washington State, coming on to the program tomorrow to talk about why he believes that 5G is deadly and why non-ionizing radiation is potentially deadly. And I know we only did something on the program last week about that when I interviewed the documentarian, the filmmaker, about it. But I want to keep talking about it because it's an imminent thing. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. Mark Collett, the author and conservative commentator, will be on the program tomorrow as well. I've got some really good guests lined up this week for you. The program can be heard live on richieallen.co.uk. That's RICHIE, Allen, ALLEN, richieallen.co.uk. That's right. I'm on triggerwarning.tv. I'm not sure if the Fab radio stream has been fixed. I'll find out. But richieallen.co.uk, triggerwarning.tv. You can download the Cogent radio app. That's a really good app. There's no issue there with your data being stored or harvested, none of that. It's just a simple app, no advertising, and it works really well. Those are ways to listen to the program, which is live Monday to Thursday at 5 p.m. UK time, currently BST, but it'll be GMT in a few weeks' time. So that's 5 o'clock. All right. So I don't really have a lot more to tell you then, really, other than that, other than join me at 5 and do email Richie at richieallen.co.uk with any recommendations for guests, people who haven't been on the program, people whom you think might make interesting guests in the future, and where possible, I will endeavour to get those guests on. It's marvellous to be back. It really is, into the second week after my unintended extended break there in August. The show is available on Spotify, by the way, as well. Go to Spotify if you're a Spotify subscriber and find the Richie Allen Show. It's on iTunes as well. It is verifiably the most listened to independent radio show in Europe. Remarkable thing. Produced, edited, and presented here by me and me alone in this house in South Manchester on a daily basis. This is how we'll win, eh? This is how we'll get that message to people, that the mainstream media is not only not providing for people, but they're working unbelievably hard to make sure that it never gets to people. Right, join me at 5 p.m. then. Until then, I hope you're having a good Monday. Nobody likes Mondays. See you this evening, 5 p.m. UK time on the usual channels. Bye for now.